Hello, hello. It's our time together, ladies. Y'all come on in. It's our time together, Sunday at 7. Tea Talk with Dr. T. Let me see you here. Come on in, come on in. Let me see you, ladies. Y'all come on in. It's our time together, Tea Talk with Dr. T. Sundays at 7. Y'all know how we do this. Coming home to yourself. Coming home to yourself. Finding the woman you've been missing. Some of y'all been missing. Some of y'all been missing in action. MIA. Y'all come on in. Coming home to yourself. Some of y'all are out there just out there being great, and then you feel like, wait a minute, I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like something's going on. I feel like, wait, what's going on with me? I don't feel like myself. That's because you're MIA to yourself. You're missing in action to yourself. So let's do this. Let's do this. Sunday night, 7 o'clock. Y'all know how we do this. We come together with our tea. I got soursop tea tonight with some local honey. So I'm excited about that. Soursop all the way from Jamaica, man. Yes, yes. Good for you. Good for you, tea. Good for you, tea. What's in your teacup? What's in your teacup on this Sunday evening? Inquiring minds want to know. Type it in the chat. Tell me what type of tea you are drinking tonight with me as we talk about coming home to yourself. Finding the woman you have been missing because you have been missing you. You have been feeling some type of way about you. You have been longing for you, saying to yourself when you see your beautiful self in the mirror, something's off, something's different. I just want to ask you a simple question as we get started tonight. As the therapist comes out, as Dr. T comes out, she wants to ask the question like I always do in my counseling sessions and my coaching sessions. I always start off with the question, when was the last time you really felt like you? Like, drop it in the chat. When was the last time you felt like you? Like, completely like you, holistically you, authentically you, the you used to love, the you used to praise, the you used to felt like you in your skin, not the you that had to pretend, not the you that had to make things happen, not the you that had to perform, but I'm talking about the real you, like the for real you, like the kids say, for real, for real. When was it the last time she felt like you? So type that in the chat. I want to see it. I want to see it. Listen, and also type in the chat. Let me know where you're watching me from. Some of you all have been putting comments in the chat, and I'm going, do I know this person? And it's so amazing to be out sometimes out and about, and somebody goes, hey, Dr. T. And I go, wait a minute, how am I supposed to know this person? They go, you don't know me. I just follow you, and I love what you're doing. So thank you for that. But let me know where you're watching me from, because when I go back and read all the comments, I love to see where you're watching us from. So thank you for that. So tonight, let's talk this a little bit for the next few minutes. Y'all know how we do. I only come on for a few minutes because I don't want to interrupt your quality time with you on this Sunday evening. Yep. So here's the question. When was the last time you really felt like you? Like the holistically authentic you? The real you, not the fake you, not the you that got to put on the mask and the glamour girl. I'm talking about the real you. The real you that likes to hide up under the covers, the real you that likes to take longer in the shower, the real you that has to sit in the car for a few minutes. When was the last time you really felt like you? hmm And here's the truth. I don't think that you're by yourself. No, you're not. I know sometimes you feel like you are, but truly, you're not by yourself. There's a number of you who feel like you haven't really been you in a long time, who really feel like you've had to perform, who really feel like you had to put on a mask, who really felt like you had to take a deep breath before you did something because it was something that you really didn't want to do, but you knew you had to do, or you felt like you had to do it. Uh-huh. We're going to come back for that. So here's the thing. Can I just be honest with you? Um, you're not really sick. Mm-hmm. There's nothing really wrong with you. Can I just tell you what's really going on, sis? You're homesick. And you're not homesick for a place. You're really homesick for you. You long for this feeling inside of you that makes you feel like you. But here's the thing. no matter where you go or who you're hanging out with, here's the problem. You're taking you with them. You're taking you with you. You're taking a version of you that's not even truly you. So that's why you feel unfulfilled. That's why you feel like something's still missing. Because what you're really looking for is the true you. And that's not a place, that's really the inside of you. So you're not homesick for a place, sis. You're homesick for you. And here's the truth. We don't leave ourselves. Like, you don't just wake up one morning and you've changed. That's taken place over time. So over time, you've learned to become the peacemaker. Over time, you've learned to become the provider. Over time, you've learned to become the strong one. Over time, you've learned to become the caregiver. It's not something that happens overnight. So over time, you've chipped away at the real you. It's happened over time. And it didn't happen over a month's worth of time. It didn't happen over a year's worth of time. This has happened year after year after year. When you've chosen to ignore your needs, when you've chosen to say yes when you really wanted to say no, when you've chosen to do things that you really didn't want to do, every time you did that, you chipped away at the real you. So, of course, the real you goes missing because as you're chipping away, the real you is disappearing. And here's the thing. Sometimes it started not in adulthood, but it actually started in childhood. I shared with you all last week, and I apologize. I don't know what happened last week. Let me put a pin in that. I don't know what happened last week. We went from having a phenomenal live last week to some of you telling me you couldn't comment to now the whole thing is gone. So I apologize, but last week was on fire. If you were live with me last week, it was fire. But okay, now I digress. So some of us have learned early on, early as childhood, and I shared this with you last week. We learned as early as childhood to put others' needs ahead of our own. And so we have been programmed, that's right, programmed early on to put your needs on the back burner. Some of y'all, not even a back burner, to not even address your own needs, ever, ever, ever. And so you go from one way of serving to another way of serving to another way of serving. And here's what I mean by that. You go from work to your church to be a leader in that ministry. You go to your sorority to be a leader in that ministry. You are the daycare for your grandkids. You just go from thing to thing, from event to event, from title to title. And you learn that early on. See, we didn't just start learning how to ignore our own needs in adulthood. We learned that early on. You learned early on that you had to earn love. You learned early on that you had to be the peacemaker. You learned early on that good girls don't complain. You learned early on that good girls don't cry. You learned early on not to be a burden to somebody. So you kept what you needed or what you wanted hidden, and you never let anybody know it. You learned that early on. You learned early on, don't make trouble. You learned early on to stay in your place and to keep quiet, but to keep on doing for other people. You learned early on how to make other people happy. That's not something you just wake up and know how to do in adulthood. You learned it early on, and as you continue to do it, you perfected it. You perfected it, sis. Let me say that again. You perfected it, so much so that you think it's actually part of who you are. But let me help you. Let me just take a sip of tea before I tell you this, because it's about to get heavy. You learn that early on, and it's not a personality trait, it's actually a survival skill. Let that sit with you for a moment. It's not a personality trait, but it's a survival strategy that you learned early on. And so now here you are in adulthood, and you no longer want to survive. In your heart of hearts, you want to thrive. In your heart of hearts, you want to be free. In your heart of hearts, you want to have peace. But here's the thing that keeps showing up: survival mode. And you've been in survival mode for so long that it almost feels normal to you. And so now that you're in midlife and your body has been going through survival for so long, you are exhausted. See, we're not meant to sit in survival mode for years and years and years and years and years. Our bodies are not designed to do that. And by the time we hit midlife, we are mentally exhausted. We are physically exhausted. We are emotionally exhausted. We're every kind of exhausted that you think, because you've gone for so long. What? Showing up for everybody else. So when I posted, I think I posted it this week, I asked the question, what makes you feel exhausted? And oftentimes I will ask that to the ladies in coaching and counseling, what makes you feel exhausted? And here are some things that they'll tell me. They'll tell me, my marriage makes me feel exhausted. My kids make me feel exhausted. My grandkids make me feel exhausted. My career makes me feel exhausted. You know, my parents make me feel exhausted because I'm caregivers for them. That all is true. I'm not negating any of that. Those things may be adding to your exhaustion. But can I be honest with you? The real thing that makes you feel exhausted is you pretending. The real thing that makes you feel exhausted is you're performing for everybody else. The real thing that makes you feel exhausted is you trying to prove your worth to people who only see you as the banker or babysitter. The real thing that makes you feel exhausted is the people pleasing. The real thing that makes you feel exhausted is you not feeling enough for yourself. That's the kind of exhaustion that can't be fixed by taking a girl's weekend, that can't be fixed by taking a staycation or a vacation, because that type of exhaustion only comes when you stop living in survival. You got to stop living in survival. You're not meant to stay there. You're only meant to do what you need to do for the moment, and then you are supposed to move on. But some of you have been living in survival for so long. That's why you feel homesick. That's why you need to come home to yourself. That's why it's so important to find the you that's been missing. Because the you that's been missing has been in survival mode for too long. And that person will never be seen. That person will never give enough to other people to make her feel good. That person will never have enough energy to run on the fumes that you've been running on to try to take care of all of those other people. As long as you keep staying in survival mode, sis, can I just be honest with you? You're never going to feel at home with yourself. It all goes back to you taking care of you. So here's my favorite part. Y'all know I preach that all the time. What does taking care of me really look like? Because for some of you, that's really foreign. Like, it's really hard for you to imagine taking care of yourself. And for some of you, you haven't been taught how to do that. You're experts at taking care of everybody else, but you're a novice at taking care of yourself. Here's what taking care of yourself and coming home to yourself really looks like. Number one, it looks like knowing what you want. It looks like knowing what you need. It looks like knowing your true responsibilities outside of functioning in survival mode. Because in midlife, It's not about functioning in survival mode anymore. It's about now taking care of me. So when you start taking care of you, you start trusting you. I get women all the time who tell me, I don't build good relationships with other people because I don't trust other people. Well, that's not true. You don't trust you. So when you can't trust you, you can't trust other people. But coming home to yourself, you can learn how to love you, which allows you to be able to love you so much that you start protecting you. Ooh, I said something right there. When you love you enough, you start protecting you. Since you haven't been protecting you in a long time and you don't know what protection even looks like. That gate is wide open. That field is wide open. That door is wide open. And you've gone so long with not protecting yourself that not protecting yourself is actually not loving yourself. Not protecting yourself is not trusting yourself. Not protecting yourself is not listening to yourself. And so, in this midlife stage, in this empowered midlife that you're living in, coming home to yourself looks like trusting yourself. Coming home to yourself looks like listening to your body. So when you are tired, you go take a nap. When you are emotionally depleted, you go sit down and read a book or watch a movie or go get a massage or go get your nails done or actually just unplug from the matrix. Yeah. That's what coming home to yourself looks like. It looks like saying no without feeling guilty. Because I say this all the time. No is a complete sentence and doesn't need an explanation. The answer is no. And you move on. I've actually had some people have to practice no. I've given the homework of saying no, homework of saying no in the mirror. Why? Because some people don't know what it feels like to actually say no. If you're one of those people, listen, your homework is to practice saying no in the mirror. Not no with an explanation, but just simply the word no. And if you're from the South and you need to say it politely, just say no, thank you, and drink your tea. That's right. Saying no is actually coming home to yourself. Remembering what brings you joy is coming home to yourself. It's helping you find yourself, the missing you. Yeah, some of you don't even know what brings you joy. I told you one of the questions that I often ask the ladies when they get started with me is, what do you want? And they can't answer the question. What brings you joy, sis? When you think about doing something for you, what makes you laugh? What makes you smile? What makes you feel like a little girl on the inside? That's what brings you joy. Dreaming again. Yeah, dreaming again helps you come home to yourself. What dreams have you ignored? hmm What dreams have you put on the back burner? What dreams have you extinguished yourself? Not that your kids extinguished it, not that your boo or your bae or your spouse extinguished it, not that the years extinguished it, but you extinguished that dream yourself. What dream have you extinguished yourself? Here's another one. When was the last time you had a good laugh? I mean, a good laugh that made you cry. So much so that you lost your breath laughing so hard. Laughter is medicine, is good medicine for the soul. But some of us live lives on 100 all the time that we don't get an opportunity to slow down and just have a good laugh. And here's the last thing. When was the last time you rested? I mean, a good rest. I mean, phone off in the room, up under your grandma's quilt, rested. Or like I like to do, sit on the sofa and watch Hallmark movies. Why do I watch Hallmark movies? Because I don't have to think about them. They're always the same. But I'm talking about a rest where your brain is not on 2 days from now. That your brain is not trying to strategize and come up with a solution for somebody else's problem. I'm talking about the kind of rest that when somebody comes and asks you what we having for dinner, yeah, it sounds like that. It sounds like complete silence because you're not even thinking about feeding nobody anything. As a matter of fact, what you plan on having for dinner is cereal because you don't even have to cook it. That's the type of rest I'm talking about, sis. When was the last time you did that for you? So I got a couple of questions as we wrap this up tonight. I got a couple of questions that I want you to put in your journal because I want you to think about it for the week. All right. And y'all know I had to write them down because I wanted to make sure I gave them to you right. So here's part of your homework for this week. Here's your Tea Talk homework. Here's the first question. When did you stop choosing yourself? Do you even know? When you stopped choosing yourself? When you started choosing your kids more, when you started choosing your spouse more, when you started choosing your boss more and what they needed on your job, when you started choosing the ministry more and what they needed you to be and what committee they needed you to be over on your sorority, when did you stop choosing for yourself? That's the first reflection question for the week. Here's the second reflection question for the week. Who taught you that your needs didn't matter? I told you early on that we learned that good girls don't make trouble. Good girls don't cry. Good girls make everybody else quiet. Keep herself quiet. Good girls know their place. We learned that stuff early on. But who taught you that your needs didn't matter? And I want you to reflect, not that we're throwing shade on them or that we are trying to blame them for anything, but as that person's name comes up as you answer that question, I want you to take a 360 view of their life. Yeah, because here's the truth. They only taught you what they knew, but that doesn't mean that you have to carry that mantle into your future. They only taught you what they knew, that somebody else taught them. But that does not mean that you have to carry that mantle into your future. As a woman who lives an empowered midlife, oh, we get to make choices and we get to make decisions. And as you move forward, coming home to yourself, knowing who that person is that told you that your emotions and your needs didn't matter, that means letting their version of who you should be go. Yeah, let me say that again. You need to let their version of who you should be go. And that's how you come home to yourself. Here's the next question I want you to think about for this week. And here's the final question. If you came home to yourself, what would be different? What would be different for you? How would you feel? How would you think? How would you move? What would you do? Where would you go? What would be the things you would say yes to? And what would be the things that you say no to? If you came home to yourself, what would be different? Yeah. What would be the life that you would create for yourself when you come home to yourself? So I want you to hear me. You're not too old. You're not too late. Listen, you are the woman you've been looking for. Yeah, you're becoming her, but you can't keep ignoring her. She's there, but ignoring her means that you're going to stay homesick much longer. And midlife is not about being homesick for you. It's about coming home to yourself. So don't promise yourself this huge change all at once. Y'all know we can't do that. We can't snap our fingers and lose 30 pounds. We can't snap our fingers and have the long, beautiful sister locks that we want. Yeah, y'all look good in y'all sister locks. I just want y'all to know that. Yes, you can't do that. It's a process. But there are things that you have to choose and things you have to decide on and make the commitment to do those things. So just as you commit to other people and other things, part of your homework this week is to commit to you. Not a whole bunch of things, but one thing. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to type it in the chat. What's the one thing that you're going to commit to for yourself this week? Is it to have more peace? What does that look like? Is it to have more time for yourself? What does that look like? Is it to say that I'm going to commit a 1 hour each and every day where my phone is off and I get to do what I want to do uninterrupted? What does that look like? to commit to you every single day for the next 7 days. Yep. Type it in the chat because I'm going to hold you accountable. I want to see what you're going to do. All right. I want to leave you with this. Coming home to yourself isn't selfish. It's self-care. It's self-preservation. It's self-love and it's self-worth. That's what it is. You deserve everything you desire. You deserve everything you want. And coming home to yourself is the first step to getting it all. So, until next Sunday, keep finding your way home to yourself. Keep doing the work, one day at a time. We're not doing this big. We're doing this one step at a time. So keep doing that this week. Make a commitment to yourself this week to do it, not for everybody else, but to do it for you. But more importantly, remember to put you at the top of your list. Until next Sunday, 7 o'clock, remember, sis, I love you, and you should be loving you just as much as I love you. You deserve it. Share this with a sister who needs to hear it. She needs to come home to herself just like you do. Share it with a sister. And remember, Sundays at 7, that's our time together. Until next week, do your Tea Talk homework. Type it in the chat. I want to see it. Type it in the comments. I'm going to hold you accountable next week. I'm gonna be calling you out to make sure you've gotten your homework done. All right, y'all. Until next week, y'all enjoy.